Hello, my name is Kinsey Heisel and I'm the Youth Services Librarian at the Boyle County Public Library. This is the discussion video for Tween LibCrates in October. We will be unboxing this month's Tween LibCrate box, going over the discussion questions, everything included in the box, and wrapping up this month's Tween LibCrate. Let's get started. So the first thing you'll find in your box will be the list of everything included in the box, when the unboxing is, that's right now, as well as the discussion questions on the back and the instructions for the craft. So lots of helpful information here. Next, I'll pull out our snacks. So we have a candy skull ring as one little snack treat, and then we also have some animal crackers. Our prizes that are included, we have a few this time for October, just little fun goodies in your box. First you'll have gotten a couple spooky Halloween theme erasers that can go on top of your pencil, or you can just hold them to be erasers. Everyone got two, and it's up to whatever box you got what the two characters are. Next, we have some fun and a little bit spooky rings. So I hope you enjoy these fun, like Halloween themed, spooky, monster themed rings. And then finally we have the craft. So the craft came in a plastic Ziploc bag like that. So it should have everything in it that you need. And the craft for this time is an origami book monster. So you can follow the instructions again, which were listed on this sheet in your box, and you'll fold it into a triangle and then use the yarn and different shapes and googly eyes to make whatever sort of monster that you want. And then it's a little bookmark that can go on the corner page of your book and help hold your place. So I hope you enjoyed this craft. Thank you to those of you who submitted pictures. I will now include them in this video right now. So thanks for sharing those monster bookmarks. I hope you all enjoyed making them. They were very creative. Hope everyone who picked up a LibCrate was able to make a fun monster. And then finally, we have the book of the month. So the book this month is Charlie Hernandez and the League of Shadows. So this book has a lot of mythology in it, some friendships, some monsters, lots of fun stuff in here. So I hope you all enjoyed reading this book. I will read the back summary for you in case you haven't gotten to it yet, but then we'll be going into the part of the video where we will discuss what you all read during this book. So first, here is the description on the back. Charlie Hernandez grew up listening to his grandmother tell him stories from Latino and Hispanic mythology. Sometimes she'd draw pictures of the monsters from the tales for him to identify. Charlie thought it was all a game, but he should have known better. Now his entire world has turned upside down. A fire destroyed his house and his parents have disappeared. He's living with a temporary guardian while the police continue to look for his mom and dad. On top of that, he's grown horns. Yes, real, honest-to-goodness horns. They're small and honey-colored, but they're horns. Then the feathers appear, feathers growing out of his pores, covering his arms and chest. And suddenly he's reminded of one of his abuela's myths. This one was about a creature called a morphling, a shapeshifter. But myths aren't real, are they? Charlie and his longtime crush Violet Ray set out to search for the truth. They realize that some monsters aren't hiding under the bed, they're hiding in plain sight. So I hope you enjoyed reading this one, and we'll get into some of the discussion questions. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed reading the book this month, and you can find the discussion questions also on the back of the sheet that came in your LibCrate. And thank you to those of you who submitted some answers that I'll read off. They're just off camera here. I have them in front of me while we go through our discussion and talk about the book. So our first question, how did Charlie feel when the horns disappeared? Why was the appearance of feathers 4 weeks later worse than the horns? So you all answered, he felt relieved, but also thought he had a nervous breakdown to cope with what had happened the previous week. The feathers were worse because they were harder to hide. Another response submitted is Charlie was relieved for a little bit that the horns were gone, and the feathers were painful when they started sprouting. The feathers couldn't be hidden very easily unless he wore long sleeves. He realized that his grandmother's stories weren't just stories, they were real. So those are very good answers. That's exactly what I would have said as well. He was both relieved to not have horns growing out of his head anymore, but the feathers were painful because they were bigger than his pores. They bled a little bit. There was the scene in the bathroom where he was trying to rip out his feathers, but of course they were growing out of him, so that part was a little gross. It was painful for him, so he put on a big winter coat, which had been made fun of a little bit, but probably better than if he had feathers, so it was something extra that he had to hide. Of course, some people saw them, like Violet, and thought they were really cool. Our next question, speaking of Violet, why are Charlie and Violet such a good team? You all answered, Violet was more thorough and thoughtful about investigating. Charlie knew the myths and stories. Together they were able to find and beat the mythological creatures they encountered. Exactly. Another response, because Violet helped Charlie follow the map and go underneath the cemetery into another world. Charlie thought the myths were stories, but Charlie realized the myths weren't just stories. Exactly. So Violet really likes solving true crime. She has that app on her phone that the FBI uses to also take pictures, so she's really good at the investigating part, like you all said, and Charlie knows the stories, so together they have really good knowledge and they can be a really good team together. Our next question. Charlie keeps his mom's locket, the only thing left of hers, with him at all times. Do you have an item that is sentimental to you? So you all answered a yellow butterfly and also your book collection. So those are awesome. Thank you for sharing. I would say that I would agree with the book collection for sure. My book collection is definitely sentimental to me. I also have a couple pieces of furniture from my grandparents, as well as a clock that my grandparents fixed up and made for me that are pretty sentimental family ties for me as well. So not as easy to carry around as Charlie's locket, but we all have things that are sentimental to us that we like to keep that remind us of our loved ones. Next question. Are there any stories, myths, or legends your family members share? Talk about what they are. So you all said that you didn't know of any myths, legends, or stories that your family shared. One spookier story, since it is a monster and kind of spooky book in October that I'll share from my family, is when I was growing up, my grandparents told me that one chair in their house was haunted, specifically that chair, because a soldier from the Civil War came in, sat down in that chair, and then died. So I don't know if maybe they just didn't want me sitting in that chair when I was a little kid growing up, or what, but that was the spooky story that they told me, so that's kind of a legend that my family talks about. So ask your guardians or other grown-ups in your life or your cousins what stories that their families tell or what stories that they have heard. I always think those are really interesting, and Charlie certainly had a lot in his family that he was told and then found out maybe they could be real. So our last two questions are both about what you all liked in the book. So what character did you like the most? One of you said Charlie because he knew about the myths. I do think that's pretty cool. And someone else said that they liked Violet best. So I'm glad that you all liked the two main characters of our book. I also liked them, and I liked the abuela a lot, even though we don't see her in the book as much, because she was the one who told Charlie all of the stories and then would quiz him around the table to make sure he got the correct answers and that sort of thing. So I liked that she was a good storyteller. And finally, what did you like best about the book? So one of you said learning about myths and legends from different cultures, and someone else said that they liked that Charlie discovers the myths are actually true. So I totally agree The myths and legends were definitely my favorite part of this book and why I thought that you all would like it as well, so I'm glad that you did. There are tons of myths and legends and mythological creatures jam-packed in this book. We see all sorts of different ones, and Charlie and Violet have to escape some, try to get help from others. I particularly liked when they were following the magical trail that was made by the witch's tears to lead them to where they were supposed to go. I thought that was really interesting, so I'm really glad that you all liked that part of the book. Thank you so much for participating in the October Tween LibCrates discussion for our book this month. I think we have just a couple more Tween LibCrate boxes if you still want to pick one up for October. And then in November, starting on November 1st, we will have a new Tween LibCrate box that you can pick up with, again, a new book of the month, as well as a snack, a craft, a prize, and some discussion questions. So our next book that we're going to read, the theme for the next box will be friendship, and the book that we're going to read is Hello Universe. So it's an award-winning book. I think that you all will really enjoy it. I will read you a quick description of Hello Universe, our book for November. Told from 4 intertwining points of view, 2 boys and 2 girls, the novel celebrates bravery, being different, and finding your inner hero. In one day, 4 lives weave together in unexpected ways. Virgil Salinas is shy and kind-hearted, and feels out of place in his crazy about sports family. Valencia Somerset, who is deaf, is smart, brave, and secretly lonely, and she loves everything about nature. Kori Takana is a self-proclaimed psychic whose little sister Jen is always following her around. And Chet Bullens wishes the weird kids would just stop being so different so he can concentrate on basketball. They aren't friends. At least not until Chet pulls a prank that traps Virgil and his pet guinea pig at the bottom of a well. This disaster leads the other 3 on an epic quest to find missing Virgil. Through luck, smarts, bravery, and a little help from the universe, a rescue is performed, a bully is put in his place, and friendship blooms. So I hope that you'll enjoy our book for November and the other goodies and surprises that will come in the Tween LibCrate. You can pick those up starting on November 1st. Thanks for watching this week's video, and as always, please feel free to email me if you have more pictures you'd like to share or any questions about the upcoming LibCrate. Thank you for participating in the discussion, and happy reading. Bye!